Hello and welcome. It is inkiness of Inky Baby and Inky World. This is Don. We're going to review another fountain pen. And what pen are we going to review? A special pen. A Platinum 3776. But not just any Platinum 3776, but an ultra extra fine. The best part about ultra extra fine, it's very fine. And the most important part about being very fine is it writes a very fine line. Now, about platinum pens. Platinum pens have been around a very long time. This has a slip and seal cap mechanism which essentially locks the pen in place and locks the nib in an airtight chamber with a little spring in here. I don't know if you can see that or not. The little spring basically locks an inner cap that seals it. So theoretically, this pen can stay inked for a year without going dry. That is Platinum's core competence and their competitive advantage over other pens in this price class. Particularly because this price of the pen was about $176 US, and if you go to a Japanese eBay type store, it would be around 100-ish. We'll just put the radar around there. Now, another good part about these pens are they are very good quality pens for the money. Why do I say that? Because the nibs are designed to be a tool. What do I mean by that? They will always write well. They're not going to be the smoothest nibs, but they're very good at writing. Versus a lot of high-end, high-dollar pens, for example, basically over-smooth the nib. Like Pelican on their broad, or maybe some of the higher end Visconti on their broads and their stubs, or maybe Conway Stewart. Okay, now I'm not saying any names, but some other pen companies on certain nibs are skippy, meaning they don't do much. These things, however, won't skip. They got these big mama drama feet that are really ready to basically haul butt and put some ink down on the paper if you need it. Now, this ultra extra fine came from the Goulet Pen Company. When I wanted it from the Goulet Pen Company and not a Nibmeister because I know how to tune the pens myself. But if you bought this pen, please, warning, 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 only buy this pen from a Nibmeister, because it does come a little bit scratchy and the pen is so fine that there's a high probability that the nib tines might be a little bit misaligned from the factory. Why is this important, gentlemen and ladies? It is important due to the fact that we want to give you a good writing experience, not a harfication. We want you to keep buying pens and keep it going. So I only recommend the ultra extra fine if you have an ultra extra fine need. For what I do a lot of contract work, so I have very minimal space to write a lot of information on in a very short amount of time. I needed a fine tool. Now this thing is only about 0.10 millimeters on the line. That is a very, very, very fine. I recommend either going to a medium or maybe a broad if you want to try one of these pens. I don't recommend this unless you know what you're doing, ladies and gentlemen. And the reason for this is because I want to keep it going. I want you to be happy with your pen. And for higher level people that are maybe in the calligraphy field or somebody that needs a special niche like I do, the ultra extra fine will do you dandy. Or if you have very small handwriting and very wiry handwriting. However, warning, warning, warning number 2. Do not tune this pen yourself. Just adjust the tines if you have very good eyesight. Okay? If you smooth this, there's no nib material there whatsoever. You'll completely ruin it and go to the gold and go right past that iridium, and your pen is going to become a paperweight. And we don't want that because we want to keep the ink flowing, baby. All right, now we're going to the writing sample next. But before we do, let's just compare it to a couple other pens in size. This pen directly competes with the Mont Blanc, kind of. It's a little fatter and a little tiny bit shorter to give you a little bit of a comparison. And that's what it is compared to size. All right, and next up is the writing sample. Okay, this is the writing sample of the Pilot 3776 in chartreuse blue. 3776 actually means the height of Mount Fuji. I forgot to mention that. So let's see what this baby can do in this ultra extra fine nib that is really designed to write the finest line possible for very specific work. The ultra extra fine platinum Now this pen is actually pretty smooth for being so fine. Look at that fineness. I mean, look at that compared to our control pen, which is the Evil Bic. Evil. I can't even write with it, it's so horrible. Bic ballpoint of death. Anyway, back to a real pen. So this is the Platinum Ultra Extra Fine. Okay. Now, is there any line variation? Yeah, there's a little tiny bit. You can squeeze out a little bit higher line here. Look at this. See, you can squeeze out a little bit, but don't go too hard, or else you're going to actually not only worry about spraying the nib, but misaligning it, and then your life will really be miserable with this thing. So make sure that you have a light touch, and it will write pretty smooth if you're careful, and you align it slightly well by yourself by aligning the tine nibs. The tines on the nib, I mean. So let's write our sentence. Every good boy deserves a Ferrari. I agree, don't you? So this is the pen. Look at that nib. That is some serious fine nibage. I mean, that thing is pretty cool. So basically, this is the pen. Real quickly, let's just compare this to a Pilot Varsity in line with. If you can see right here, this is the Pilot Varsity. So it's considerably fatter. So these are going to be my control pens. Okay. Inky baby out.